qualifiers. This is the place where if you're a player and you lose, you are out of the tournament. So you are fighting for your tournament life here. So we're going to be having Fishyyy versus JaysonH, two players I actually got to cast in the previous days. So I have a little idea of how these players performed. And Fishyyy was very close to taking a victory over VLPS, whereas JaysonH, he actually went 3-0 against 0-3 against JaysonH, so JaysonH kind of made short work of him. So going into this game, I kind of feel that Fishy's got a stronger chance here.
Yeah, Fishyyy, also known as Perfect Storm, a strong player. I've played both of these guys on ladder, and they're both pretty good, I'd say. Both of them playing mage. That seems to be an interesting thing. We've seen a lot of the mages go down to the loser bracket, actually. Maybe that's an indication of the strength of the class at the moment. Both of them playing Druid as well, with Warrior and Warlock being the last class. I'd be surprised if this isn't going to be Handlock from Jason.
Yeah, it is Handlock, and the Tempo Mage from Jason is a slower variant, so we're in the Water Elementals, a bit like Hot Form. So I remember seeing Ragnaros. As for Fishyy's Mage, not as memorable, unfortunately, but I'm sure we're going to be seeing it coming up very shortly. So both of these players are now fighting for their tournament life. It's really tough fighting in losers bracket because every game counts. Winner bracket gives you a little bit of a safety blanket because you can lose one game, and if you get to like round of 16, you still got a little bit of it's a little bit easier because you move up higher up in the losers bracket. Where these guys are in the round of 32A, so the first round of 32 in the lower bracket. So these guys have some work to do if they want to be going to San Francisco in a couple of days' time.
A lot of series to win generally. You feel pretty broken once you've lost in the first round of winners bracket. You generally need to win at least 2 or 3 to have a realistic chance of taking down the tournament. Now we seem to have tempo mates against looks to be Dragonlock or possibly even Malilock here with Corruptor.
Oh, Dragonlock. I'm sure it was Handlock. I guess I see so much Handlock at the moment with such a popular deck, especially with the Warlock class. But yeah, it is Dragonlock, I'm going to say. I can't recall a Malagos straight away, but this is just kind of run-of-the-mill Tempo Mage so far. Looking at these hands, how do you feel about Jason's hand? Malilock's not one of the decks I've played a lot, but how do you feel about it?
It's pretty good. Generally, Implosion isn't the best deck, but if you don't have the coin as the Tempo Mage and you don't have the Flamemaker, you can get a lot of value. Generally against these aggressive decks, it's the Muster and the Implosion that really deal with you. Think about, for example, Max Yama that just falls apart to Muster or Implosion. Now, there's no good answer. You might even have to Frostbolt this Xiao, so things looking okay for Jason. It would be stronger if he had a Darkbolt always output, but
he can still
he's very likely to be able to go for the turn 4 Corruptor there.
You know, things are looking pretty bad for Fishyyy at the start, not really getting the pressure he needed. Has to play a Scientist on 2, and he gets some Mana Worm. So now he's starting to develop his board, but Jason does have answers in his hand.
Absolutely, yeah. I kind of favor the Dragonlock here. This seems to be exactly the type of deck that the Dragonlock does beat. Now he's going for the Owl. Okay. Not too bad. Denies the secret and can give him more options in terms of either the Hellfire or the Implosion. I think the Implosion is more likely. Stringmaster coming down. Just gonna ping with that. I feel like Fishyyy is in a lot of trouble here.
The thing with Jason, if he silences his Mad Scientist, his Blackwing Corruptor or his Vorson doesn't get hit by the Mirror Entity, so he's slowing down the aggro deck even more because he fins. It doesn't get the finning of the deck from the Mad Scientist, so this seems fine. The Shrinkmeister is interesting. Do you need to play it at this point, do you think? Because it feels like Fishy's a bit far behind.
So he's far behind and needs to kill Jason soon, as the Flame Strike and the Fireball and the Arcane Missiles are all kind of mediocre against this type of deck. It's kind of like running Flame Strike and Midrange Hunter. It's not going to do too well generally. Only an Implosion for 2 is not too good. I actually wouldn't mind him just going for a coin Blackwing Corruptor. It doesn't have a dragon, so that just kind of puts out that possibility. I guess, yeah, Shrink Master will fall apart to Hellfire, but maybe he just had to take a risk at some point.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, he wasn't able to get that dragon tribe there to activate his corruptor, so he had to kind of go for that implosion play instead. But things are still looking fine for Jason, man. He's healthy. He's got options coming up going into the late game. He's got some nice mid-range minions coming up.
Well, yeah, I think Jason is in a position where it's going to be hard for him to lose even. Yeah. Flame Cannon is an excellent pickup though, but still, I mean, Jason isn't putting any pressure on the board. No, Fishyyy isn't putting any pressure onto the board. He's just kind of staying even. He's got an awkward hand. Thankfully, there's no dragon from Jason, so Fishyyy isn't way behind. But I think Jason is in a position where he can tap easily and be okay, or even throw down the Emperor. This is a luxury Emperor, absolutely. Generally, he wouldn't be in a position where he could go for something like this. But yeah, feels horrible to Flame Strike here. Ronin, wow.
Alright, so things are looking a little bit better for Fishyyy. So he does have Ronin and Antonidas, so he could play Ronin next turn if it does get taken out. He does have Tony with a couple of missiles in the later game, and he'll have a lot of fireballs. So I know this is sounds like a little bit better for Fishyyy, but he still has to deal with any pressure that Jason develops.
Do you think he's running Emperor as well? He's running Ronin? I mean,
I imagine so. They kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. Still, think about it. You need 3 cards. You need Ronin, Emperor, and Antonidas to just pull off this combo. It takes, what, at least 3 turns to get the combo off. First you play Ronin, then he dies, then you play Emperor, then you can play Antonidas, and then finally you start fireballing. But it's gonna be worth it eventually.
Get in there and fight, maggot!
Alright, so we get to clear up here, but all those missiles are going to be a lot of fun for Fishyyy if he finds some time to use them. Fishy's actually currently rank 1 on ladder in NA at the moment, so he's been putting a lot of work in for this event. So if you're going to be climbing that heavily, he definitely is in it to win it today. Oh wow, so 2 fireballs coming down, missiles don't clean up the heal bot, but he has a bit of burst in his hand now going forward.
I just want to mention one thing. I'm figuring out that in the previous game with Strife Crow, if he goes for the Living Roots on Light Bane, the Divine Shield dies. It's in the small print of the card, it's a new card, you know. But apparently that's how it works. So Strife Crow didn't misplay there by not using the Living Roots. Just thought I'd have to you guys on that. Interesting card. We're learning more and more about this card every week it seems now.
Flame Strike
lines
yeah, Flame Strike lines nicely.
Sorry?
Flame Strike lines up really nicely here with the Flame Waker, doesn't he? He can start putting more pressure on. And now we were talking about how Jason was super comfortable. Now Fishyy's starting to look really good.
Absolutely, Jason needs a heal bot here, honestly.
And he's only used 1 heal bot, so he's still gonna have to find the second heal bot. It might be harder, it might be deeper into his deck. And just relying on kind of that draw to kind of bring back the game, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, he needs something to happen here. He can't really just play the Tilma. Either put on pressure or get the heal bot, but I mean, in this case, every Archie missile that goes to face, yeah. This is probably lethal. Yeah, it's lethal, yeah.
Wow, so Fishyyy, we were talking about how Jason had a really convincing opening hand and things were looking really good for him, and Fishyyy was kind of playing very slowly and reactively for his fast deck, but Fishyyy actually turns it around and takes the win. So Fishyyy really shown what he's capable of. Not only that, he's rank 1 on NA as well, so you know he's been doing the hard work and it's starting to pay off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well played to him. Think about it, without that Ronin tough deck though, he would have been in a lot of trouble. And things were looking good for Jason, but he just didn't draw the dragon early enough, so he was forced to use the implosion earlier, go for the Blackwing much later in the game than he would have wanted to, so he put on less pressure onto Fishyyy, and that gave him the time to really get that Ronin and Antonidas combo going. Yeah,
he did get a good top deck, but he played well. Fishyyy didn't kind of tilt. He just kind of kept with his game plan and he managed to find the win. Was there anything Jason could have done differently? Do you think that could have helped him maybe not lose and get that win, which we thought he was going to get?
It's tough, yeah. Dragon Walk is a very new deck. There was nothing that looked to be wrong, in my opinion, at least.
Well, maybe once we look over the VODs, or even if Jason kind of looks over his games in the future, maybe he'll find something differently. But going into the next game, it looks like Fishyyy is actually going to queue in his warrior, and Jason's not too convinced that this warlock's going to fall short, and he's going to go back to it. So warlock's going to get another opportunity to kind of show what it's made of, whereas Fishyy's going to be queuing in that patron, as if I remember rightly from the previous game. So patron versus dragon warlock. Interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think it's even close to... Yeah, I think it's pretty close.
They've got these new 3/6 Twilight Guardians. Nice bulky taunts for a cheap cost. So, yeah, you know, it's they've got these options, I guess, these mid-game options that can challenge the Patron Warrior. We still haven't seen a Malagos or Soulfire, so this may just kind of be a kind of a mid-range / controlled dragon warlock, and he actually plays Abusive Sergeant on 1 here. That's interesting as well. What's he trying to contest?
Is basically that it's used to combo, I guess, both with the 1/1 Infant Potion and to buff enemy minions and become hunter them. But there's only one minion that would really be viable, and that would be the Emperor, so it's better to just get it out of the way here.
Yeah, so the Unstable Ghoul comes down, it's going to protect him a little bit. Dart Bomb might follow up, or maybe a Silence. I guess, do you just Dart Bomb this and move on, or do you keep the Silence for the Acolyte of Pain? Because obviously card draw is a bit more valuable.
You're in no rush here. I feel like tapping is totally fine.
Just go for the tap?
Yeah, I don't see the reason to rush here. I mean, it doesn't need to be piling on the pressure. I feel like with this Dragon Lock, you want to be the defensive player and control the board instead of being aggressive and trying to get something done here.
Alright, so typical patron stuff, drawing some cards here. Jason finds himself a Twilight Guardian, and it actually has the Dragon Tribe, so you can activate its effect. And this is going to be a nice little wall to hold off, but Death Spite, you know, such a great card, and it's going to line up a nice clear here of the board if he decides to commit to that.
Yeah, I mean, essentially he gets in an extra 2/1 for this. Let's say he taps. You can go Twilight Guardian into Azure Dragon into Emperor, and then he has like an 8 card hand versus we're gonna have like 6 cards now instead.
It's interesting. He goes for the Implosion there. Maybe he just felt that was stronger because he hadn't seen the Death Spite just yet. But Fishyyy does have answers to these little imps if he wants to. He can actually just play the Death Spite here and start going face.
Yeah, everything's going wrong for Jason in this game. Only rolling 2 there. But I don't know, I just... Interesting to see his reasoning for that owl.
Yeah, it just seemed a bit rushed, didn't it?
I get the idea behind Implosion, because you want to get these imps out before there's a chance of a patron coming into play. As I mean, if you have extra imps in the late game, you just give Frothing Berserkers extra damage, you give the patrons extra patrons, so it's good to get rid of those early, but yeah,
The Silence has more value on something like an Acolyte of Pain, just kind of slow down that card draw, whereas on the Ghoul, it didn't really change much. He kind of was going to lose his 2/1 anyway. And the 2/1 had what value did the 2/1 have overall? Not much. So throwing away an owl so quickly for something so small just didn't seem the right course of action there.
Absolutely, yeah. As he has the second Death Spite, it's fine to get rid of that one, but yeah, Twilight Guardian coming into play strongly here. I kind of like to call him the Fen Creeper, because he has the same stats as the 5-mana Fen Creeper, which was actually played briefly right before the Grand Tournament came out. And the idea there was that it would be pretty good against Patron. And, you know, lo and behold, Twilight Guardian is even better against patrons. Not only mana cheaper, but also has the dragon synergy to be played.
So Blizzard saw the Fang Creeper being played, and they thought, yeah, you know, this guy's pretty decent against Patreon. Let's make an even better version. And I'm glad they made the card. I really like it, especially for Priest as well. It's made Priest quite a fun deck for myself. I was never a fan.
If you go back to the Archon Team League, we actually played, as in Tempo Storm, we played Fang Creeper in a Priest deck. I believe it was against Liquid, because we figured Show would be playing his Midrange Hunter and his Patron deck. So yeah, we played Fang Creeper 1 week.
Did it work out?
It went okay. I think we won. Yeah, we beat Liquid, but I don't think that one card came into play too much. Fun ideas with that one though.
Alright, so Slime's going to come down here, draw a card. It's going to be nice for this Despite lineup and kill if he decides to go for the Azure Drake. You actually get some more card draw here as well.
I think there's no chance he'll use the Despite right now. I think it would be a mistake. I think you have to save it for the combo, honestly.
Yeah, turn 8, you know, line up that nice combo. Is it worth leaving the... Oh, unless he just goes for a patron board now and kind of just forces a AoE from Jason.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Alpha would be really weak here. But...
I mean, and this way he gets a heal as well. The imps are really bad. Both the imp minions are really bad. And not only that, he has another patron in hand and he has a war song and all the other little tools he needs. So it doesn't seem like he's really sacrificing much by going. We actually just
top deck Hellfire. Oh.
Wow.
He might be about to get punished here.
Things were looking so great for Fishyyy up until that top deck.
I actually want to see if he's going for the Hellfire Twilight Guardian. I want to see him attack the Imp Gang boss into a patron first. Because then he won't get a 1-1 minion out of it. Because you now a 1-1 spawn, and that could possibly be bad for him later on in the game. It's going to be a second wave of patrons.
That's true. I mean, what does this 1-1 trade into? Nothing really. Unless he gets an abusive sergeant behind it, which we've already seen one disappear. And I don't know how many he's actually running in the deck.
Yeah, and I think this might come down slightly again to that turn 3 owl on that, I guess, you know, unstable ghoul. Fishyyy just seems to be ahead in every way.
You know, Fishyy's got a giant hand, he's drawn a lot of cards, whereas Jason is down to 3 cards, even with a hero power that lets him draw cards. So he's really far behind in the hand game and in the board game as well. So Soulfire actually comes off the top there, so that must mean a Malagos is sitting somewhere in that deck. Alright, Azure Drake lets him get a 2 damage mortal card, cleaning up that Aquablad pain, but you know, Fishyy's just drawing cards, more and more cards, and things are just looking incredibly bleak. Plays the Argus on the 5/5, kind of in a bit of a defensive mode now, a bit afraid of what Fishyyy can do with his massive hand. He does find Forest on the top. So
I actually argue that this is a very aggressive stance, as he's basically, you know, gambling on being able to kill Fishyyy this turn, or just be out of luck generally, because he's been playing, in my opinion, a control deck very aggressively. I think he's tapped once in this whole game, maybe twice in total. I mean, he skipped the tap last turn and went for the Defender of Arcus, which is extremely aggressive. And it's not about the taunt, it's about the extra 1 damage and the extra 2/2, which, yeah, this is gonna get close.
That Soulfire might help him clean this up. Has he used the Dart Bomb already? I think he has.
I'm not sure actually. I don't. Wait, this is what? This is 10 damage. So he's 3 up.
Let's see what he finds. Maybe it's that little push he needs. Implosion isn't it.
At least we know that, yeah. Starts with the tap. Chill more. That's something, but he doesn't have a dragon to activate it here. He has to kill the War Sun, that's for sure, because at this point it's too late to wait for Malagos. I feel in general though, had he just tapped more, hit a bit more defensively, he could have absolutely been ahead at this point.
For Argus.
He actually gets another 2 on the implosion. Not getting very lucky with these implosions, JaysonH. Let's see if he has what he needs to kind of close things out. It kind of looks like it. Can he play the Throbbing as well? 5.
No, he can't.
No, he can't. So
You can get a good board though with the patrons.
and we've seen a Hellfire, so chances of him having another one are quite slim.
There's a possibility of Shadow Flame, but he didn't need the minions for that. But yeah, I mean, let's say because Jason had the Emperor and he didn't get much value at the Emperor. I think he only discounted like 3 cards or so. Had he started tapping more, he could have had a lot more cards discounted. I like his idea behind implosioning early, but I don't know.
So you felt like he didn't play it like a control deck enough? He played a bit too kind of mid-range?
Yeah, almost. A bit aggressive even.
So
I mean, the turn to Owl was my main problem, I guess. But maybe he fell behind earlier when he was playing. Oh wow, he gets Malikos. That's wow. Okay.
So he actually doesn't matter.
This is lethal, though.
This
This is lethal, way lethal.
Robin's health is a little bit too high for that chill mode to be effective, and he's going to be able to get a lot of stacks of damage from this chill mode, hitting everything on the field and close out this game very, very easily. Not convincingly though. I mean, Fishyyy is quite low. I think Jason, but that was down to Jason's aggression. Right? It wasn't down perhaps to him playing the deck.
That felt very one-sided and convincing by Fishyyy. I think he played well. JaysonH didn't tap quite enough. I think maybe he felt he needed to end the game early or fight for the board really hard. I think it would have been okay to just sit on 8-9 cards in hand and maybe be at 20 health and be okay, because it takes a lot of time for the patron to build up. But I think maybe after the Owl he fell behind, so he felt he needed to play for that early lethal. In terms of, I guess, going for that Defender of Argus on the Azure deck instead of tapping again. So it didn't pay off for him just yet. We've seen Druid from Fishyyy. That's going to be up next. Exciting to see what deck Jason picks.
So how do you think Druid lines up against this dragon Malilock? Do you think it's because Druid generally does pretty decent against Handlock, kind of falls short against Zoo. Malilock, would you find Druid is mid-range Druid against that deck?
So this deck is so new that it's hard to tell. I haven't played it more than I think 2 games, so I haven't played against Druid with this deck. Generally, the Malilock didn't do too well against Druid. Any deck that was able to really go to face due to the lack of taunts, but now you have a lot more taunts as the Dragon Warlock. So I could see this being even, but historically it's been stronger for the Druid. We'll have to see how that goes.
It actually looks like Jason has picked his mage, so he's got a Tempo Mage with Water Elementals. I remember seeing that, and I remember seeing Ragnaros as well, if I'm correct. So Tempo Mage is going to line up pretty nicely against Druid, but as we've discussed, the Aspirants do kind of make things a little bit different now, making those mirror entities less effective and make them lose mana crystals as they have to remove the follow-it up. So here we go. This could be Fishyy's chance to progress in the losers bracket, and this could be Jason's ticket out of the World Championship qualifiers. So Jason's got a lot of work to do to get back in this game.
Yeah, generally, Tempo Mage has had the strongest matchup against Druid.
Job's done.
Generally, as the secrets the Mage plays are very strong against Druid, but now with the new Damascus, things are looking a bit better. Fishyyy has the Wild Growth, which feels so good to be playing a Druid. Even a curve to go with it, a 4-drop, 5-drop, and 6-drop. So I'd actually argue that the Force Nature is very good against this type of Mage.
Yeah, Force of Nature kind of clears up all the little bits and pieces, and you don't really lose a lot by playing the Force of Nature. It's just one card where they can lose potentially 2 to 3 cards. So it kind of trades pretty well. The Unstable Portal finds a Gnomish Inventor and a Kidnapper. Interesting. So he's got a Sap now built into that card if he's going to be able to combo it. And because it's got a reduced cost, it will be easier to combo it. So Sap on Druid's a bit of a nuisance, right? So having that available to him will definitely make
even just right now. I mean,
what's it? It's a free mana, so he still needs something else to be able to get the combo. So next turn, you could actually play the Gnomish Inventor and then into the Kidnapper, develop 2 decent minions, and get a sap off as well. So that's pretty cool. And this is what we were talking about earlier, where this matchup gives Druid a little bit of an edge. They can use this Aspirant card, a part of the mirror entity, then kill it, and then he loses mana. So now he can't do that turn I was talking about, and he actually throws out an innovate with the Harrison. So Fishyyy being super aggressive on board here and developing a really strong and sturdy board for Jason to deal with.
yeah, I feel like maybe the Kidnapper would have been better last turn. Think about it now. I mean, what mini are you gonna get for the Kidnapper? You're gonna get an Emperor and let him use it again. You're gonna give him a Instant of Lore and let him heal late game. You know, are you gonna bounce through the Claw? Maybe that's fine, but you also have the Fireball for that. I feel like Shredder was one of the better ones to bounce. Also, I guess it makes the Flame Cannon a lot stronger generally. As you have the Azure Drakes, you have the Harrison Jones even, so you could use it freely there. But yeah, things looking good for Fishyyy.
Yeah, he finds another minion to throw down. He probably wanted something a bit bulkier, that maybe an Ancient of Law, Ancient of War, Dot Boom, but Shade, you might play a Tempo B Shade. So it looks like Fishyyy is very committed to trying to take out Jason as fast as possible here. And Jason not actually having a Flame Strike just yet. This is actually going to play into Fishyy's favor.
Yeah, I feel like Flame Strike might be one of the better ways to come back for him, but it's he only has 4 mana versus 8 mana from Fishyyy next turn, so this is gonna be tricky.
He's ramped so far ahead thanks to this Aspirant. He had 1 Wild Growth as well, so yeah, he's managed to just like jump the curves so heavily. And
He also went first, I guess, you know, and Fishyyy and Jason has already used his coin, but maybe he just has to use the Flame Cannon and get lucky here. Is that maybe just the idea?
he could play the... Oh, he could go for Flame Cannon. It does hit Harrison. That's not too bad. He does knock 5 attack off the board, but the Shade is going to become pretty scary if it's kind of left alone.
Yeah, I think this phase just has to be the place here.
And all of a sudden the Druid takes on the philosophy of the Hunter and starts smacking him in the face. I like that trade there actually, because he protects his Shade from being pinged down and hit by the Mad Scientist. So he just forces a spell.
Yeah. Makes the board a bit more sturdy. Kidnapper coming down, interesting.
A bit late.
Arcane Missiles, yeah. And hits the big amount twice. This might actually be what he needed. But if we just think about it, he has 12 damage just right now.
And that is a mirror entity. Okay, so not going to really make any difference. Very hard for him to deal with the Shade without that Flame Strike. So again, can take a more aggressive stance here, get to clear up this Kidnapper. Building a stronger board than Jason. And the pressure is really on, because if he just finds, well, he's got the Force of Nature, finds a swipe or something, as long as he keeps the Shade around, things are looking great. You just need to find a little bit more damage in case his board gets cleared, and that Shade may be able to do enough work to finish the game.
Yeah, this is looking like it's almost over. He can trade a bit, but still. Is he gonna possibly even have to... He can't fireball this, it's just way too slow. But if he doesn't fireball it, he's just out of this tournament, yeah.
Yeah, but it's game over unless he throws that fireball at the keeper. Does Jason see it? He doesn't.
I mean, see it. I mean, it's still. Does he play around Force Nature? He's behind. He can't really. In my opinion, he just doesn't have the luxury of doing this. Sort of Fishyyy is going to take a 3-0 sweep here in this series.
Congratulations to Fishyyy on being able to sustain his streak in the losers bracket. Sorry, so he still has a lot more work to do to get in this tournament. But this is the the stepping stones are building up to becoming into the top 8. If he can keep building on this, keep fighting at Franklin Legend as well, maybe Fishyyy will be going to San Francisco in the next coming days.
Absolutely here. He looked really solid, I have to say. Excited to see another series from him sometime soon. Not much to say, I guess. Yeah, this just all fell apart. Felt the mirror entity was the defining moment of the game.
I feel bad for Jayson. He came into this tournament and he went 0-6 in total. Just saying, kind of made easy work of him as well. So for Jayson, he kind of needs to go over the VODs, kind of figure out what went wrong for him. Was it plays? Was it deck selection? He did bring some kind of strange decks, I suppose. He brought the Mali Lock, he brought the Tempo Mage, didn't bring a Warrior as well. And, you know, Warrior is so powerful with the Patron right now. So, yeah, we'll be coming back very shortly with another game. We're still in the losers bracket, so don't go anywhere, and we'll have some more games coming up soon.